I mean, it's relatively easily. You see this thing? It's literally just steel frame. It could roll out like a marble.
Damn, high. Where were you at on that fight?
Where was I at?
Yeah, where were you at?
I was right below Zakk,
I don't know about right below, but
above 2 other DPS and both the tanks. So I'd say that's a win, yeah.
Considering he's like 20 eye levels lower than a lot of us, I think I'll give it to him.
oh, is he? Oh, 278.
Lower than me.
Night, everyone. See you tomorrow.
And yet you were bottom DPS.
Yeah, my fight's
Night,
a lot of mobility.
Okay.
Night.
Yeah, Ulsting, some stuff there. The balance stuff they're adding. You know those? If you ever remember those fairy dragons I could summon as a tier piece once.
No.
Well, that's coming back. So I get, some of my spells can spawn fey dragons to attack things.
Oh, that's neat. I remember that. That was a cool effect.
Lunar Shrapnel, Starfall can do 25% damage to nearby enemies, so even more splash damage during Starfall.
Wow,
Which
what the heck
they
is
reverted.
that?
They reverted Starfall back to the 40-yard, moving around with you,
Oh,
and you
Jesus.
can stack it.
Do
re-
you get Stellar Drift though?
I don't know. That I'm aware of. Stellar Drift may not be a thing. Which Stellar Drift is great, but I think I would rather have like the constant roll of Starfall. Because that's the problem now with Stellar Drift is you cast it, but then you have like a 12-second cooldown, and the spell only lasts for 8 seconds. And a bunch of other stuff like the ones that makes chance to make Starfall or Star Surge free from each other, increasing damage with each other. The wolf is still there.
The real question is, do you guys still get the Night Fae blink?
No, that is.
Yeah,
I think
that's
they're making a
Thank
toy.
God.
I think they're making a toy for that. But that's for
Okay,
everyone.
well, yeah, you can't use it in combat probably.
No, it's like it is just a straight toy, just so you can use your.
soul
But
shapes.
yeah, Balance of All Things is being as added as a talent.
Are they giving you another blink to replace that?
No,
Okay, good.
I mean,
Fucking druids. We don't need any more shit.
I mean, as long as we keep wild charge, you know, technically Cat has a blink towards an enemy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but at least that costs you like a GCD.
But wild charge is the best movement-based ability there is ever. So
Actually, 2 GCDs because you got to switch into it and then you got to switch out of it.
yeah, there's like a bunch of stuff. Astral Smolder. Your crit strikes from Starfire and Wrath causes target to languish for an additional 4% of your spell damage over 4 seconds. Elun's Guidance. That's Incarn is empowered, and Invoke is reduced.
A lot of the trees look really good. I think most people are gonna really enjoy their classes. I just hope they don't like rip that stuff away for 11.0 and go with something completely different. I think it'll be like Cataclysm and Pandaria where you'll have more stuff, which I like.
I think at 11.0, there's definitely should be a slight tree tweak, obviously, but if we can keep the tree and then work around it.
I'm sure there will be really good changes that they'll be able to make after, 2 years of data on the trees. I'm sure the first pass won't be like
Yeah,
the best.
and it'll come down to
but-
like, all right, now we know this wasn't working. We can remove this from the tree swap it around with some new stuff for the upcoming. That way,
Yeah, I just hope they keep the trees as big as they are and not reduce them down to 6 or 7 talent rows, because it just
back to
the
mob
trees
style.
just add it just adds so much to every class and spec.
But
that-
it's really a toss up because like a lot of the stuff in the talent tree is stuff we already have baked in, based on like level up stuffs, and that's some people made that comment where it's like you're weaker with the talent tree, but then you have to buy back all your stuff, and most of that stuff though is all in the class tree, and it's like for your class that you to require for your class, you pretty much get everything you need. For the entire class tree, it's like I can get everything in the balance side of it, and still have to go get stuff out of the like feral bear side to spend all the points.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, hopefully they can, like, for the mage tree, for the class tree, I wasn't able to get all of the stuff that I wanted. So ideally, that's the situation that all the class trees will be in, that you actually have to make some choices.
Yeah,
It's hard to do that for every class.
but yeah. Then the spec is the real, and this spec is something I wanted them to have a level 70 like to play at the start, so
Yeah.
that you could play with the full tree. You couldn't
Yeah.
do that until like the 2 weeks ago or something. They pushed that out. It's like, but why now?
I think they just wanted to force people to do the leveling, because
You can't
They
even do
wanted people to
that
test
because you only had the certain zones, and you can only be in that zone. You
didn't
couldn't
they?
go.
Oh, they didn't. I know in the beginning they like alternated which one was open. but
Yeah.
Didn't they open them all up eventually?
It's hard. I kind of zoned off after a little while.
Yeah, same. I just figured they did. I don't actually know that they did.
Yeah, it's like, but like, I would have wanted like ideally a 70 character. It didn't have to leave a capital city. Like it could have
Yeah.
been locked to the capital city. Just give me a training dummy,
Yeah.
or do dungeons with it. Like I just wanted the full tree to play with. Sure, we don't have recount or nothing like that or details, but just to get the feel.
Well, now we've got it, and we've probably got. Well, they usually announce it like 6 to 8 weeks before the new expansion, so we've got at least that much time.
Apparently, I was kind of skimming the Reddits earlier, and there was a theoretical leaked pre-patch date and release date. So,
What were they?
mid to late October for pre-patch, and then that leads into 4 weeks into November for the actual expansion.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it'll end up being, honestly, because I think they want the world first race done by Christmas.
I think that, like, honestly, I know a month is a lot to wait for the raid, but like it almost seems like it'd be better to wait after Christmas. That way, people already have their vacations done with.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword. Honestly, like,
Because if it comes
it'd
out
be
late
nice-
November, then that basically
Yeah.
gives you the raid doesn't come out for like a week or two after the expansion
Yeah.
drops. So
Yep.
that's
it would
basically
be nice if it's out by November. That way, you can people can play it on their Thanksgiving and Christmas breaks. But I really don't think it'll be ready and it'll be rushed. So I would love for them to wait until
Yeah.
January. I know it's not going to happen because they already committed to this year,
Well,
but
I'm
and
fine
that's a
with it.
slippery slope too. Because if they
Well-
wait until it's ready, then it'll never be ready.
I was like, I'm fine with the expansion coming out in November. As you said, you get your Thanksgiving, your early break to get people to play, and that way they can play with numbers. They can do their hot fixes, their small number tweaks, and then just that kind of leads up, and then mid-January, let's just say mid-January, get people back from vacation, the New Year's, and all that stuff. Raid drops, go to town.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. Since there's no secondary power progression systems, so there isn't the ability to just grind endlessly.
It
If
basically
you
comes down
don't-
to
if you-
as long as you run your dungeons.
Yeah, as long as you the only way you can min max is just by running heroic dungeons, or I guess Mythic 0.
Yeah,
But
it'd be Mythic
if you
Zeros.
don't release the season, like the raid and Mythic Plus until January, then that gives people like a nice 4 to 6 weeks to just like run
Level,
heroic
explore,
dungeons
and
Mythic
yeah,
and stuff.
it experience the expansion, get your reps going.
I would actually really like that.
Play the game for a little bit before you're just slammed.
I have a feeling they're gonna do the opposite though. Instead of giving you that breathing period, they're gonna like smush it all up front. Like Ian in one of his interviews asked a Mythic Raider from like one of the top guilds, like how would he feel? Because normally Mythic Raid doesn't release until the 3rd week, a week after
Yeah.
Raid and Mythic Plus.
But that was
And so he asked
commented
them what
if
they
it
thought
was
about releasing it the
same
week.
time.
Yeah. So I have a feeling that they might release everything, including Mythic Raid, like a week or 2 after launch, which I hope that they don't, but I think they will.
It'd be an interesting case for that because there's no chance that they would be able to do it day one. They'd almost have to, they'd still almost basically take a week to do like normal heroics before jumping into Mythic.
Yeah. I don't think it would actually change the world first race that much. Because they need that first week to kind of grind Mythic Plus. But there is no secondary power progression system for them to grind. So once they get the gear from Mythic Plus, like that's it. There's nothing else.
And I think, and then we still run into the problem of Mythic Plus. They're gonna just be grinding for those 15s, and then
Oh yeah.
They probably won't even raid when it comes out. They'll be grind the Mythic Pluses till you get 15s. Everyone's 15 Mythic Plus. All right, hit Mythic.
Yeah.
Which again is like, I'm a raider. I want to raid, and I want my gear from raid. And I don't want to do my Mythic. I don't want to do Mythic Pluses.
So they're doing some stuff to try and like make the
Alleviate.
gears not compete, right?
I don't know. Like in my ideal head, and this also like combines a separate feature that's been
We
kind of
we
waning.
agree on this, I think.
Well,
Having separate gear.
Yeah, separate gear,
Yeah.
100%. Like basically individual tier sets that only affect the content it's meant for. So a tier like it doesn't even have to be like super overpowered, but like basic stats, like tier set base, but only works in like rating from rating gear, Mythic Plus for Mythic Plus gear.
I mean, a simple thing would just be a stat, like Resilience was PvP only,
yeah.
really. Like, just do a stat for Mythic Plus and a stat for raids.
But then there comes the people who complain that I don't have the gear space because like you'd have your AOE or your yada 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 yada. I'd have a solution for that. I have an idea for that.
It'd really only be one set for each.
You know there'll be people like old druids, for example. What if you're
Yeah,
like a
I guess.
Mariga and play every spec except balance?
Yeah, I guess your stat priority for raid and Mythic Plus are already different.
And then if you're a druid, bear tank, heal, balance, feral, they all could have different stuff completely.
Yeah,
Possibly.
yeah.
But I would have a solution to that, and that would be to retrofit Void Storage. Because, let's be honest, when's the last time you've used your Void Storage?
I mean, it should just. I mean, yes, Void Storage is totally a dead feature.
But my idea is keep Void Storage as it is, but I'll add an additional feature where you could have like store gear sets that you could swap. And so that way it keeps your gear out of your bags in the Void Storage, and you can kind of swap around and play around as you need be.
I think a better thing that already has most of the UI would be like transmog, except instead of mogging appearances, you just mog stats. Basically, like you just have every gear you get,
You permanently have.
right, and like whatever the highest item level version of that piece you have is like what it is, like what it is.
That way, no matter what, you've always got it.
Yeah, and then you, instead of just making a transmog set, you make it like a gear set, but it's the actual gear.
And basically, you just like a T-Mog item, you just consume it, and it would go into your bags. But then it's still an item, so you can trade it with other people.
Yeah, well, so picking up gear, it would be the same thing as appearances. So like once you pick up the piece of gear, it's added to like your library, and if you trade it, it removes it from the library. So like the same thing with appearances. Like
I
there's
meant
no
like
way.
once you have it and you've locked it to you, if you were to get it again, you can then just trade it again freely
Yeah.
because you've already locked that appearance / item to you.
Yeah. The only thing where it gets weird is like with disenchanting, like because if you just get the piece and then it's in your inventory, then you would just disenchant every piece you get. So that would be kind of weird, but
That's why I was like, it'd be a good way of like, the gear you'd save would go into your void storage, but then it would have like a separate UI that you'd basically load up gear, and I would say you just get an extra like void storage stone that you can pop whenever you want out of combat, and from there you can just swap your item sets. That way you can, just like talents, basically you just change your gear on the fly as need be.
that's actually so the whole idea of like having gear sets like transmog sets or something like that's actually a really good idea. I can't think of a reason why that would be bad or how that would detrimentally impact the game.
I guess it'd just be save. I think the only other thing would be
Like
enchants.
gear's already meaningless. Yeah,
I'd say
enchants, that's true.
enchantment. Enchants would be the thing. Is sure you would say you load in, but then if you erased it, would you then have to re-enchant?
So, I mean, they could pretty easily just like carry over the enchant. Like, so like say you have a ring enchant and you swap out your gear sets, like the enchant just carries over. So like it's no longer item based, it's slot based. So like you don't enchant a specific ring, you enchant ring slot number 1 or you enchant the leg slot or whatever.
And then at that point, you'd have to be retrograding like the entire enchantment system at that point, because we've had so many expansions where different items, and obviously, you know, gear changes. Like, there's obviously the level changes that like you can't use this above this level. But it's like
Yeah,
there's just
that's
that's the problem is enchantment's so ingrained at this point for that kind of stuff. It'd require an entire overhaul just to do that idea.
Yeah. They're never going to do this because I think they fundamentally are opposed to the separate gear sets thing. But I think it'd be totally worth it.
I think so too, and that would basically please everyone, I think, or
Yeah.
please / upsets, because now you can't grind your mythic fit 20s to. Okay, so you get your mythic 20s, but you're still weaker than me in a raid because you don't have the right gear. But
So-
I'd be weaker than you and your mythics.
I don't know. So like, so if you do it stat based, like, yes, you're missing that stat, but that stat should only account for maybe like 10 to 20% of your effectiveness. So like, you're only so like if you have complete mythic plus gear and you go in a raid, you should still be 80%.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not
effective,
saying you're
like-
completely crippled, but
Yeah.
let's say
It's
but
like
it's a
unless
matter
you're
of
in a complete like mythic raiding guild that's pushing the edge, like if you're in a
Yes.
guild like most guilds, like especially us, like you'd be fine with that gear. Like, you know,
The main
like,
thing with-
we have people that like parse 20th percentile and do terrible damage, and like they have higher item level than the rest of us. Like like that 20% on gear like isn't gonna make
the main thing
difference,
is like if you were to carbon copy you or me, would then give them the mythic plus gear of equivalent value, there would be a very noticeable change on the meters, but on the overall scheme, it wouldn't matter too much for us because of how we play. Like,
Yeah.
since I still have the eye up, you did 4.1 million damage at 14k DPS, and I did 3.3 million. But with Mythic Plus gear, your 4 million could have been a 3 million, for example.
yeah.
It's not much, but there is a literal, like, there's a difference. But you're not div weak at 1.5 million.
Yeah. Like that's what I mean. Like I still would have beat Div. Like skill and class balance are still gonna
But it'd be for the
situations
min-maxers.
be more of a difference than the gear. Like,
at best it'd be for the min maxers.
Yeah, it would really only affect maybe 10, like maybe
upper-
20%, like
I'd,
of the player
I'd
base.
say upper 10%.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
that'd
It'd
be-
probably be less than 10% of the player.
And it'd be
base.
the Mythic Plus people, not the Raiders, I think, honestly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it would be like world first. It would be like top 100 Mythic raid guilds, and then all of the people who do Mythic 20s and like try and compete on time.
And
Like,
that
that
would-
would be the only people that it would affect. And I
Yeah.
think PvP.
PvP's PvP.
Yeah, no one cares about PvP.
Except PvPers. And they
Yeah.
and they hate themselves.
I feel so bad for PvPers, and WoW it's so bad.
But I think PvP might get better because of the cross faction. So you can probably have
Yes,
you can have
that's
Horde
true.
and Alliance on the same fighting
Yep.
each other, so that should definitely help.
that
these.
that will help PvP so much. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure it has already.
Faction
like,
disbalance will no longer, and even this is even for raiding. Faction disbalance will no longer be a critical factor. It's like you
well, we're
we
Horde,
won't
so
have
it didn't really matter for us anyways. But
yeah, like but you won't have 100 Horde guilds clearing like Sepulchre versus 10 Alliance at
Yeah.
best. It's like okay, that won't matter anymore because cross faction raiding is now a thing.
yeah,
Don't have to be a guild technically even. Just be on the same server.
the guild one, I'm conflicted about. I mean, they've got to just like they already have the cross faction stuff, so they should do the
Well,
guild stuff.
and
but
the
it
guild
just
thing was
feels
if
weird.
you recall, the guild thing, they actually managed in the beta to get a cross guild made through a bug.
Yes.
The tech is literally there and it works. They just don't want to pull the trigger on it. Because as they said, it's one of those as soon as you cross that line, you
Yeah,
can't
there's
go
no
back.
going back. Yeah.
But I
But
think
like PvP was the only other place where factions matter. Like it doesn't really matter in dungeons. It doesn't really matter in raid. PvP was the only place that like it felt different.
because
you
that's
know,
what it was. It's Alliance versus Horde.
Yeah, and they've already crossed that line. So like as far as I'm concerned, you might as well do the guild thing.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely for the best because it's been a pain and a half enough just listening to the PvPers cry that Xander, like the trolls are OP because Berserk.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well now you can have your troll on your team, but also
Yeah,
your
now
human,
you don't have to switch guilds and or servers just to be a different faction.
but you can also have your humans with their jack of all trade and everything.
Yeah.
Congrats. Are you happy? No?
I
can't
would
fix
be
that.
I would be interested to see if there's like more like realm balance between like Alliance and Horde. Like amount of characters at max level that are actively played. I
Yeah.
wonder if the cross faction stuff will make a difference or if people are still like if Horde versus because like at this point like you might as well. I mean, it kind of makes sense, like even character creation and all that, but like you might as well just have like the free peoples of Azeroth or something and just screw it with Alliance and Horde.
I think you can't just go free man yet because
Yeah, it's
The
still a source
content-
of story content.
yeah, it's the literal past content is still tied to that. Just because the future content isn't, you going back to Outland, you still got to go through your Alliance quests and you'll still be enemies with the Horde. So it's like there's no reason to stop the past content because it was there. It's a history. If you erase history, then what's the point? Yeah, I think this is just basically a time of like, okay, as a game and as the lore, we have hopefully finally moved on from fighting. Truly,
No, they're definitely gonna have more faction conflict. Like,
I mean,
be,
yeah,
be
there'll be-
central parts of.
but I mean,
If not an entire expansion like Battle for Azeroth, then parts of it.
you say like expansion like Battle for Azeroth, it had one patch.
I mean,
The first patch was Alliance versus Horde, and then it's like, okay, time for Najatar. Oh, it's N'Zoth time. You had a whole patch.
Two.
Yeah, 2. Sorry, Battle of
Yeah.
Zandalar. That and then that's it.
All
It was
right,
over.
All right, I'll give you that. Oh, well, 2 out of 3. That's 66%.
Half the expansion was Alliance versus Horde, and then they got over it. Barely.
Oh, actually, Old God, we better go deal with that.
Yeah, it's like, I think that's kind of the point where it's kids like, okay, you try to do this faction stuff, but then a greater power comes out, and it's like, great, we gotta join hands again. But what do you want, Blizzard? What do you want? Do you want to fight, or do you want us to hold hands? Like, we can't do both.
Gotta do both, man.
Yeah, I definitely can see like because obviously just because we're working together doesn't mean like a lot of the leaders are still with each other. Like if Sylvanas was still like good Sylvanas was still around, Gen would be going at her throat at any given moment. There is no question about that. Even though she's changed. There'll be skirmishes, there'll be little things, but at the same time, it's overall, I think we're probably just stuck with we're the same now. And it's probably easier on the lore writers, so they don't have to make entire quest zones that are different story now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, some of the expansions are like pretty similar, like Wrath. Well, no,
there's
some of it was the same. The starting zones were not the same.
Yeah, a lot of the content, like mid to
more
late game
recently they've
content,
been.
was like same stuff, but there was still like significant things where like you're hanging out in your horde base, or you're in your alliance base, and you're doing this, and meeting whole
Battle for
separate
Azeroth
characters.
is actually probably the most different.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
between the faction experiences.
Which was nice. And, like, you didn't know what they were doing, and they didn't know what we were doing, besides our little espionage missions.
Yeah, I actually like that that was fun.
But you gotta imagine, like, the writers, like, they
Oh yeah,
it was a
they had to make more world zones. They had to make more quests.
just to
and
split for
each-
2 factions.
Yeah, and each zone
Had
was
2
shorter.
separate stories. Each zone had 2 separate stories. Your
Yeah.
main faction story, but then your espionage story of when you went over there.
I'm excited for the leveling for this one. I think it'll feel more like Cataclysm or Wrath. So
I think
it'll be.
I think the dragon flying will just be a nice little
I
touch.
so it was fun when I tried it. I just hope. I don't know, since it's pretty interactive. So I just hope it doesn't get stale. Like it'll eventually get
Easy.
stale, but I just
Eventually.
hope it lasts a little while. Like I don't know yet how long.
That's the only like at the current time player power that there is your dragon flying, where it's you can go around, you go get little treasures to upgrade your dragon flying and stuff like that.
Yeah,
At
hopefully
that
the
point it'll get
progression is
easier.
Cool. Yeah.
You get more energy, you get more powers, stuff like that. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun, and as long as they don't just like after 0.0, they don't add any more stuff to it, they can kind of keep adding on to it. Like if you try it out in beta, they have those little world quests that you just go around and doing the races, and you go fly around the zones. Like, do some more of that.
Yeah, those are gonna be cool world quests. Oh man, so this is what, the 4th expansion with world quests? Oh.
Legion started it.
Yeah. Like the past, like Legion was so far really the only expansion where it was meaningful. Like Battle for Azeroth, it was like just so grindy. I mean, it was kind of grindy in Legion too, but it was also novel, so it felt fun. But Battle for Azeroth, it was really grindy with Azerite, and then Shadowlands, it's like besides the first 4 weeks, like they were just completely worthless.
Yeah, it's like I haven't done a world quest in God knows how long.
Yeah, like
Hey,
Legion, they managed to keep them relevant, but
And it's like they each had like Legion. They give you your artifact power. Battle for Azeroth, it gave you your Azerite. Here, it gave you Anima.
which like didn't matter after 2 months.
After a patch.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like hopefully with World Quest will be kind of more just like simple stuff. So yeah, I've definitely seen it posted. Like it comes a problem when a World Quest is like do this, then you do this, the whole checklist, like that one single one in Bastion, where with like those the artificial lion like cats, where you do the
Yeah,
formations.
it's like a 20-minute, 15-20-minute world quest.
And it's
at
like
the beginning. Yeah.
The Legion ones were definitely the best ones, where it's like, go here, kill this, you're done.
Yep. I agree.
Fly down, kill this strong one, you leave.
They really tried to draw them out. So Legion was more like they didn't like, I think like you had to hit up like 10 world quests and they were quick and you just like fly around, you're there for 30 seconds and then you leave. They swung all the way to the other side of the pendulum of like, okay, you're only going to do 3 or 4, but you're going to be there for 15 minutes. It's like,
Yeah, it's like
they need to strike a balance between the two.
yeah, like I'm looking at some of the world quests right now in Ardenweald right now. Gormling in a bag acquired. Go get an item. And then collect 8 Gormlings knocked down and bagged. That one's not hard, but the fact that there's so many random enemies around that you gotta go kill because they're in your way. So that's not a bad one.
Yeah, without flying too. Some of them are just such a pain in the ass.
This one, clear a zone. Great. You're telling me I have to fight with other people to fill a percentage bar.
Oh, the percentage bars are usually the worst.
Collect 20 Spriggan-sized weaponry. How often is the drops? Is it, every third one drops maybe? And I have to kill 20 plus Spriggan, 60 Spriggan to get this world quest done? Percentage. Oh, yeah, here's a great one. The ones where you have to collect the, close those rifts in Ardenweald at the Devourers.
Oh.
Where you have to collect up either you're killing all the bunch of small ones to make one big core, or you kill the big guys to get a core.
Yeah.
To get 5 to close the things. It's like, great.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think there were a couple that I enjoyed. I think they were mostly in the blue place, blue people.
Bastion.
Yeah, mostly. In
Yeah, like
Bastion,
I'm looking at Bastion now. It's like, okay, this one's a good one. The steward for every occasion, do 5 chores. And that's just the ones where you just go around, you grab a steward, like, go clean up this glass, go get this person a fruit. Like, it's not long, but it's not that hard. And you're just going around your little circle.
I guess I should rephrase it. I think Bastions were the least annoying.
Collect 4 Cloud Strider antlers. You know how often those things dropped? By killing those deer.
Alright, I'm gonna go shower and watch some TV.
Alrighty. Shall see ya.
Bye.
Yep. That's not my chat bar anymore. Alright, well, after that nice chat session with Ulsting, I think I'm going to end it here on a nice crab rave for tonight. Hopefully we can pick up tomorrow to do some more heroics and for stuff like that, but hey, thanks for watching. Until next time.